To start us off, we're going to go over Chris Bumstead. Chris Bumstead looking absolutely massive recently in some of his Instagram updates. Rocking 18 plates on the hack squat, for instance, for one of them. And he's bringing in just a lot of awesome size. Even here that he posted, I think around a month ago, of the Florida Heat looking absolutely, in his words, juicy, with some of his Savage tank tops. And it's one of those things with Chris where if he just kind of keeps bringing up those lagging body parts for him, which sometimes can be hard to point out, but Chris's lagging body parts in the past have been his biceps and his back. And he's brought up his back year over year. And I could see him bring more thickness to his back, more size to his arms, and just honestly, general size everywhere. He has a new weight cap, and he's going to bring in a lot of awesome size coming to this competition. So before I kind of keep going forward, I'm actually going to revisit last year's standings. In last year, you had Chris Bumstead place first, Terrence Ruffin in second, Breon Ainsley in third, Urs in fourth, and Ramon in fifth. So I think this might stay the same, but I could definitely see some changes of some placings. And I'm going to talk about that here in a second. So going over, we'll work backwards a little bit with Ramon. Ramon's been compared to Chris a couple different times of just their size, where they're at, and general symmetry of their body types. This was Ramon at this year's Arnold Classic, looking really well, really good symmetry of his waist to his shoulders. He has really good genetics of his low lat insertions to his waist. Could definitely bring up his arms. Legs are, in good condition. Little bit soft, but I think a lot of the guys came in knowing that they would still do extremely well with where they're at. But look at his arm peaks here. The front double might have been just a lagging point for him, but he always has kind of like lacked a little bit in his back compared to a couple of the other competitors. Definitely Chris. He has the Christmas tree here at the Arnold. But overall, Ramon's going to come in with more size, more structure, and overall, I think he'll move his placing up at least one. I think he'll get into potentially that fourth spot this year. Next, who I think will remain in that number 2 spot is going to be Terrence Ruffin. So Terrence has been putting on a lot of size. Look at him here. He comments in this post from 2 days ago. Last year, we had no offseason due to surgery. My contest prep was cut in half. My coach, John, passed away, so I didn't train or eat for a week. People often ask if I was disappointed. And the truth is I was actually surprised that only one person was able to beat me. And Terrence always brings in insane conditioning, and his posing is top-notch, arguably the best poser in the IFBB. The insane waist, the small waist, the shoulders, just the overall flow of his physique is definitely top-notch compared to a lot of the other IFBB Classic Physique competitors. So it's going to be awesome to see Terrence on stage really representing the sport in an awesome way. And it's going to be something, I think, revolutionary to also see what Terrence is going to do just with the size, because will the size impact the flow of his physique? That's, I think, my biggest question for him. He's a shorter bodybuilder compared to Chris, Ramon, Urs, a couple of other guys, which you can see in this picture. He's the shortest out of the top 5 last year, but that didn't affect his placing, of course, obviously getting second. So one of those things for him where I think he keeps doing what he's doing. I don't see him beating Chris yet, but I do see him placing really well in next year's Mr. Olympia. The next guy, we got Logan Franklin. He posted this 2 weeks ago. I think Logan's a sleeper if he gets to the competition. He still has to qualify for this year's Mr. Olympia. And, he said he's 13 weeks from showtime. And I think he's going to come in looking just absolutely nuts. And his lagging body parts in the past has just been his legs, his back thickness. But genetically, his arms, the shelf that he has up top has been really great for him. And he's also amazing at posing, just like Mr. Terrence Ruffin. So here's a small posing video slash hype video of him of his training recently. And I think he has a lot of haters of just the way that he puts himself out on social media and everything else as well too. But you can't deny that the guy has a crazy shape coming from being a physique competitor to classic. It's definitely a huge change. But overall, I do think that Logan's going to come in and he's going to, I think, shock some people and place pretty high. I don't see him in the top five, but I do see him being in that potentially first call out or like number six, number seven, potentially in the competition. Here's some posing practice with Milos, Regan, and Andrew Jacked as well too. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see Logan on stage. The next guy, Breon, who last year got fourth. So Breon, who has won the Classic Physique 2 times before. Chris has been a three-peat, has definitely done still well. Obviously, placing top five, something to be notable, but after being a 2-time winner, it's got to smack your ego a little bit. So you'll notice Breon has put on just an insane amount of mass. Like this might be the biggest we've seen Breon maybe ever, I think, in an off season. The rumor is that he was going to go to 212 and not classic, but if we look at him here, looking really, really full and big, and it looks like training's going really well for him. This is from 3 days ago, burning the pancakes. So he's doing a lot of good stuff here to like probably try to get to that number 2 spot again, or even like a top 3 spot again. The front double is looking awesome. The high peaks in the biceps, still keeping the waist really tight. So it's going to be kind of curious to see how Breon's going to look on stage if he still decides to do the classic. He's saying for the damn win, and it'll be kind of curious to see where Breon ends up at this year's Mr. Olympia. Now, my sleeper pick of this year's Mr. Classic is Mr. Wesley Vissers, who just won last night in France, and he had a really great showing. Has his son with him. Really awesome to see. Logan chimed in, Derek chimed in as well too, and it's great to see Wesley on stage and actually get kind of like quote unquote like what he deserves with an IFBB win. So if you kind of like look at him here, or even in this shot from I believe this is the Arnold UK or the Arnold Classic. So from 6 days ago, where in this show he got third, but everyone believes that he had gypped a good bit. But he had some new coaching this year, some new sponsors, and Wesley's looking awesome. He's always came in with really good size, and the conditioning on social media that you kind of see from it always in the past hasn't really transitioned to the stage, people would say. But I think this is where we've seen the best Wesley yet. And he has a really good personality. He's been part of the sport for a long time, engages his fans really well. So really wish the best for him. But that will wrap it up for the video here, guys. That's what I kind of think. I'm thinking this year in this top five, we're going to see some shakeups. I see Chris Bumstead getting a 4-peat, Breon probably going to that 5 spot, not the number 3 spot. I see moving up to number 3, Ramon to number 4, and Terrence staying at the number 2 spot. But I think the real interesting competition and things to watch is going to be places 6 through 10, and potentially that second half, that second call out, and a little bit of that number 6 spot in the first call out as well too, of what that really looks like. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.